Have you ever felt stuck? Like your motivation is gone, your business feels flat, maybe life feels flat, your life feels repetitive, same old. And no matter how hard you work, nothing really changes. What if the problem isn't that you're stuck? What if the real problem is that you've start exposing yourself to new ideas or new skills or new environments and new ways of thinking? Because the moment people stop learning, they stop growing. And when growth stops, life feels stagnant. And that's where you can lose your motivation. Oftentimes, it isn't that you're not motivated. I hear that from people all of the time. It's because they're just have lost their inspiration. And inspiration often comes from learning new things from other people, from other resources. And we need to be inspired to keep that motivation continuing. So that's one of the things I say to people is, what's inspired you lately? Is it anything? Or did you just wake up and fall right back into the same routine? Today, I want to challenge you. The idea that you're stuck and shift it to why learning something new could be your biggest breakthrough you've been looking for. You know, one of the things that can keep your mind really alert, I know for me, learning all about, creating a whole new workout routine and learning how to become stronger, learning how to, losing the weight, getting stronger, taking this weight training class. So I was learning new things about an area in my life where I wanted to be stronger. But what did that do for me? It gave me so much more energy. And it wasn't just because it was in workout. I believe that it did. But I started being excited about the day, and I was excited about what I was going to do. I was excited about the progress that I was making. That's why a lot of people, and it's one of the things that are suggested, is that, as you get a little bit older, like if you want to still learn, like take up a musical instrument that you've never done before, because seeing that progress every day just can stimulate your creativity. It can cause you to start feeling excited about other things. And when that creativity gets sparked, it could just be in one area, but then it flows into all the other areas of your life. And suddenly you've got a pep in your step and you're just more excited. Learning a language can do the same thing. Learning a new hobby can be exciting. Learning a craft, taking up something like people have completely changed their lives because they learned how to play pickleball. And I know that this can sound funny, but I was talking with a woman. I ran into a woman that I hadn't seen in probably 30 plus years that I had gone to high school with. I'd actually been in band with. And it was kind of it was a movie preview that a whole bunch of people from our high school went to because one of our friends was the director on the movie. And so we all go. And I started talking to her and she's like, oh, I just was kind of not doing anything. I'd retired. I didn't know what to do with myself. And one of my friends invited me to go play pickleball. And now I have a whole life around that. I have friends. I'm in 3 different clubs that I go and we play, and I've gotten better, but it's made, now I do luncheons and I go to the movies with some of these friends that after hours. So it is created just because she learned how to play pickleball, but it has created a whole new environment for her, and it's made her life so much more fun and exciting. Like she was just talking and you could tell she was just so excited. And you talk to other people and they're just like, yeah, they're tired out. They don't have that same pep in their step. And so learning something new can flow in one single area of your life, can end up having a compounded effect into many areas of your life. So I really want to encourage you in that. So we're going to dive in here today and we are going to talk about how do we keep learning. So why people feel stuck. Why don't we talk about that first? So I want you to think about this. And these are things that I have taught that I think that are super important. But routine is good. Having a good routine, what does that do? You don't have to think about it. It takes away decision fatigue. Like, I am a routine girl. I love kind of having the same thing. But then you become bored with it. So you want to change your routine up sometimes. Add some different things. So this can cause you to become emotionally understimulated. And that is same routines, same conversations. Like, if you're just having the same conversation all of the time, then it's not going to be exciting and it's going to feel mundane. And then you just feel like you're bored. And then when you're bored, you have no energy. Then you don't feel like showing up. Then you start letting your work slack. And so it's a perpetual motion that just can really drag you down a rabbit hole that you just you have a hard time getting out of. Same environment. So learn to get out, see new people, completely change your environment. Volunteering somewhere can completely change your environment and have a shared purpose with someone. So that could be learning something new. If you've never volunteered at a particular place before, maybe you've never built sets for a theater and suddenly you've got some skills as a carpenter, but you've never built a theater set, but now you go in and now you got this whole new group of friends and you're building something and you're waiting for opening night, and then you can feel really, really proud of that. And that is an energy that is going to flow over into every single area of your life. So same thinking patterns, no new challenges. Challenges are good. Challenges keep us on our toes. If everything just goes the status quo, then you just become really, really not very excited. And then it can totally cause you for your either business to start going down, or you start to feel a little bit depressed. You don't feel like getting out of the house. Like, it's a perpetual motion that happens. But if you're learning new things and trying new things, it can be super stimulating. So let's talk about, I want you to think about a time that you felt super burned out. You felt unmotivated. You felt really frustrated. Maybe you felt super overwhelmed. And then you suddenly realized, yeah, I've stopped growing. When's the last time that you learned anything new? I kind of found myself in that same pattern. And then I realized that I wasn't taking any classes. Like, I'm a really good person about trying to learn new things, like even watching YouTube creation. And so then suddenly I put that energy into my health, and it stimulated my brain, and I was learning a whole bunch of new things. And I got a notebook just for all my learning that I had with my workouts and my health, and I put them in different categories. And then suddenly I could talk to people and have really great conversations around that and add in, what I knew about it and what results I had seen because of it. And then people like hearing that. Okay, so we want to talk about learning new skills. You can't create a new future without having a new mindset. So old beliefs create old outcomes. If nothing changes internally, nothing changes externally. Think about that. If you don't change internally at all, it's probably not going to change externally. Growth requires humility. That's something I want you to really, really think about, because growth creates humility. Because you know what? Sometimes growth and trying new things or learning something new or doing it different than the way you've always done, that creates an opportunity for humility to say, it's okay that I don't know this. Like, what if I were to learn this? What if this person could teach me this? Sometimes we don't want to rely on anybody else for help. We don't want to ask for someone else's help. When you think that you're just on top, like, you can't stay at the top forever. Like, no one can. And so you're kind of going at the top, and then things are going to start to slide back down. But if you're learning, and you're growing and you're trying new things, you're going to climb back up to that top again. And that's the exciting part. Like if you've ever hiked and if you've ever climbed either a mountain or even a very, large hill where you can look out over an entire city, there's nothing like reaching that point. For me, one of the toughest hikes that I ever did was in Alaska. And we climbed, it was like 7 miles up. And we made it to the top of this like sort of summit, and across from us. So we sat there and had lunch, took all day. And we get out and we look over, and it's these glaciers are just sitting right there. And it was the most spectacular feeling ever. But it was, so when I think of that, I think I can do hard things. Like, even if I think back on that, I'm not that age anymore. But the reward of that was so incredible, even though it was difficult. And so we sometimes have to think about that and envision that in our minds, and doing hard things and learning new things creates a reward that can be incredible. So think about that. Growth needs to become part of your lifestyle. So I think that people that are always growing and always learning, it's just a part of what they do. I love watching YouTube videos on just all kinds of different subjects. I like looking up subjects if I want to learn about something new. One of the things I love learning about is actors, and like what was their first thing that they ever did. I'm always looking at that for my daughter. And so I'll be watching a movie and then I see the character and then I'm like, what have they done before? So like we'll literally stop it and I'll look up and like, what did they do? Well, what was their where did they go to school? Where did they get their training from? What was their first gig? Who was their agent? Like, I am constantly learning that world because I want to be as helpful to her as I possibly can be, and give her some examples, especially if she's feeling down. I like to give her an example of, do you know that she went to 150 auditions before she ever got that first break? And then she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And even though she knows that, but when you can give her a person and look at them now and look what they're doing, it's encouragement. But if I weren't learning that, if I weren't taking the time to look that person up and then look up their early acting career, look up where they, did their schooling, look up where they got their first big break. Like, if I didn't have that knowledge in my head, I wouldn't be able to be an encourager to her sometimes when she needs that. And that's something that she's going to, just by being a really super young actor and just starting out in this whole auditioning process. Sometimes you're 10 auditions a week and you don't get any feedback or hear from anybody. You've got to stay strong, and you got to have encouragement, and you've got to keep moving, and you got to know that it's also a numbers game. And when you're least expecting it, the best one is the next one, right? Absolutely. And so I try to stay as informed as I can about that. The other thing is, it's a lifestyle yeah, I love relaxing and I love watching a movie. I love watching a show on Netflix or on Hulu or on, Apple. Like, I can't wait till a new series comes out. But you know what? If there's something, I like to break it up with what's the new documentaries that are out. My husband and I both, that's what we sit down sometimes and say, let's see what new documentaries are out. Or he'll keep up with like what new one. Oh, some of my friends have been talking about this. Let's watch this. And sometimes I'm going to be super honest. He likes different things than I like. The one thing, the documentaries that we have in common that I love watching is we both love watching music documentaries. So that's one of our favorite things. And we like to do that. But then we'll watch all kinds of different documentaries. And I sometimes like it on places, like, on a historical site or something like that. He loves how things are made, and like, because he's very much of that mindset. Sometimes I could care less about what we're doing, but I watch them with him. And every single time I do, I walk away from that documentary going, that was fascinating. Like, that was so good. And then I have knowledge that then I'm able to, if it comes up and somebody says, did you happen to see that documentary on what? I did. And then we can have a conversation around that. And it's fun. It gets you in conversations. So practical tips for growth is read. So these are going to be, see, this sort of your top 10 here on ways to always have a student mindset, right? Number 1, read daily. So reading is really, really good for you. Like, no matter what it is that you're reading. So read daily. Listen to podcasts or audiobooks. So is there a podcast that you really enjoy? Make listening to that podcast part of your routine. Drive to work. You know, when my podcast was at its peak, when we were in the top 1%, and we were part of iHeartRadio, and I was really super excited about that podcast, it was right before the pandemic. And we had, you know, the largest audience that we had up until that point was like right then. And then, boom, it went down by like 50%. And the reason why was because the majority of people listened to podcasts while driving to work. And suddenly nobody was driving to work and nobody had figured out how to place that podcast into a new routine. It's a true story. So, because it wasn't just my show, it was everybody was facing the same thing. And it was because suddenly the consumer of that, the way they always did it, had now gone away. So now they had to stop and say, okay, am I going to do it while I'm on the treadmill? Am I going to, am I going to walk around? One lady said, I just started walking around my neighborhood first thing in the morning, like how long it would take me to go to work. And then I'd listen to that podcast while I was walking around my neighborhood. And I did that as part of my morning routine. So people had to change what they did. So listening to podcasts or audiobooks, attend events and masterminds. This is really important, is to, if there's an event that you can go to, whether that is a networking event, a conference of some kind, but make sure that you are attending events at least a couple of years where you are going to meet some new people and be inspired by people, where you're going to get to listen to guest speakers, where you're going to get to learn something. So I used to love to go to the annual podcasters convention because I met some really great people that I ended up having as a guest on my show. And I learned new things there that I could come home and do with my podcast. So stay around growth-minded people. So, that old saying of you grow and have success of the 5 people, like the most 5 people that you hang around with is the most important. And there's some truth in that. I don't think it's just 5. And some people totally don't hang around with their friends that have been there forever. And I think you need to keep some of those. But it is true. You need to be around growth-minded people that can provide stimulating conversations that you can have. People that you make dinner dates with, people that are always in the know, making things happen. Those are fun dinner dates to have. Ask questions continually. So many people are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to look like they don't know. That's the best thing about life, is being curious and asking questions. Now tell me, and because this is one thing to be true, I ask questions all the time of people because people love to talk about themselves. And so when you can allow somebody to talk about themselves, they're going to feel really important. So when you leave that conversation, they think, wow, that person was so nice. So, and then it's a good way to start a conversation. I always tell me how you met. If I'm at a first time and I'm meeting people and it seems awkward and you don't want to say, boy, it was got hot out this weekend, didn't it? Or it was cold. It's oh, come on, who cares? Who really cares? And so I would stand there and we might talk a little bit. And then, so how did the two of you meet? People just light up and they love to tell the story of how they met. And then you learn a few little fun details about that person. But then they leave that conversation saying, oh yeah, we met them. They were so nice. We had such a good time. And it's because you allowed them to have those stimulating conversations. I like to ask questions when people have a business. I like asking them how they do things in their business because I have taken those ideas, tweaked them into mine, and completely did something completely different. And it's been incredible. So ask questions. Be willing to look inexperienced again. It is okay, even when you're on top, to say, "Oh, wow, yeah, I this is just something I need to learn a little bit more about, and I've really admired what you're doing. I'd love to, brainstorm with you a little bit." And that people are usually flattered, and then they'll give you some new ideas. So it's okay to look inexperienced. It doesn't make you look weak. You know, Curiosity is one of the strongest things that you can have that keeps you going and excited and learning. Invest in coaching and mentorship. So, sometimes you need a coach that can take you to that next level. You need a mentor. I talked all about mentorship last week, about being a mentor and finding a mentor. This is the most important. Learn even when things are going well. Learn even when things are going well. I have to tell you that as a business consultant, so, when you're a business consultant, I usually had 3 to 5 clients at any given time. 5 was the top load that I could have, and that was sometimes tough. 3 was really comfortable. Like, I loved having 3. Most people would sign a 1-year contract with another year to continue. Only a few companies did I ever continue to consult with at like 3 and 4 years. The one company I actually consulted with them for 10 years. That was the longest one ever. Most people, it was a year, and then they would renew for that second year. So as it was coming into that second year, I'm having to start looking, because as much as I would always try, I'd end up like 3 of them would come to a close at one time. You don't want that to happen. So I would always start, looking and talking to new companies, and here's how I could help you. And here was what the funniest thing was about that. Most people wanted to hire a consultant when they thought that their business wasn't doing that well. And I always used to say to companies that were like on the top and just going like crazy, I would say, they'd say, right now, we don't really need a consultant. And I'd say, I know that's what you think, but I am going to tell you that having a consultant when you're on top can keep you on top. Having a consultant when everything is going great, that's when you can implement new ideas. That's when you can afford to be creative and try some new things. When you wait till your business is down, then you're going to be coming to me as a consultant with desperation. Then you have a sales field that isn't as motivated. So any great ideas we're going to throw at them, they don't believe they're going to work because they're down. So we want to work with people when they are up, when they are motivated, when life is good, because then they're going to do even more. They're going to do 50% more. We can see, if you will do it when you're on top, we can see 100% growth, 200% growth, 300% growth. But if you wait till you're down, it will be like pulling teeth to get a 30% growth factor. Some said, okay, I believe you, let's do it. And then we saw, I had some companies that grew by 200 and 300%. And then I had companies that waited till they were almost bankrupt and then reach out to me. Can you save us? And it was tough. In a couple of cases we did, and a couple of cases we didn't, because it was just they didn't believe they could. And so that is why I want to tell you, learn even when things are going really well. Try new things when things are going well. Be excited, because learning is going to always keep you going. So those are the top things that you want to be doing to always stay learning. So curiosity is the most profitable traits that you can develop. So what have you been curious about lately? That's what I want to leave you with. What have you been curious about lately? Maybe every day, think about something to be curious about, just to dig into. Do a little Google search, like find out, go down a rabbit hole and find out something new. So Join me on Friday. We're going to talk about this more, about learning new things with your health and wellness journey, because I always like to keep Fridays for talking about that part of your learning ability, because it's exciting for me and I know it can be exciting for you. So hope you'll join me then. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like this video. And if you can think of someone that could benefit from this, then please share, because that's the best form of compliment. You can like this, you can comment. I love the comments. I try to go back in and make sure that I respond to those. But the best compliment of all is when you share this with a friend or someone that you think can benefit from it. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you in a couple days.